Sunday afternoon Infinity. Pripyat and I are playing out of campaign Paradisa here. We just decided to pick the first scenario, which is Valley of Darkness. Basically, there it is there. So I'm playing as the Colonial. I'm trying to basically break through to the spaceship access area, and he's ambushing me on either side. But the lists that we're running are different. I'm playing my, what are they called? Yujing. And I forgot to pick up the recorder. So this is just the top of my first turn. So I'm running 10 models. It's a mix of the Celestial Guard, the Zhanshi. I have one of the Yekong remotes. That's the... Basically everything is WYSIWYG, so the models are exactly what they are. But so I have an Imperial Agent, Crane Imperial Agent, like light smoke grenade launcher, which fired over there to block that alley. I have a Wu Ming and a Xian, exactly as they're built. They walked up and tried to, what's the term? Discover the impersonator, but they both failed their roles, and everyone else is advancing through the ruins here. So my goal is to basically get across and off that end of the board. That's the only way I win, is by getting models off that board edge. And the combined army that Brett's playing is got some of his models over here. They're all over here because they're all camo.
Not all of them.
Pretty much.
But,
oh yeah, there's one hiding out over here. He's a lieutenant. So I'm basically breaking through, and he's going to be attacking from both sides.
Is that another crown? You're good at finding crowns, bud.
So at the end of my turn, basically I advanced pretty much everyone full advance, except for the back three, which did actions of smoke and attempted discovery, which failed. So we'll pick it up at the end of that turn. At the end of Brett's turn, see how it goes. Oh, and the scenario's over in 3 turns. So at the end of the third turn, the scenarios are over. So we'll see how it goes. We got Wee Man crawling around, so you might hear some stuff in the background. We'll pick it up at the end of Brett's turn. So, bottom of turn 1. I'm not going to make it official, we'll just continue the conversation. But, as you can tell, that line of guys I had here that then moved into here are all gone. So... you saw the end of my turn. So what basically happened was, first, his lieutenant with the plasma stepped out from behind the canister. This smoke meant that his target, which was a guy right here, couldn't react because I couldn't see him. I had no line of sight to him, so I didn't get an option to dodge. So because he didn't get to dodge, he did the teardrop template, which we used this as a placeholder. So it basically dropped right here and hit all 5 models. Because it's burst 3, all 5 models had to make 3 armor saves, of which one guy in the middle passed.
Well, I was fortunate to hit with them all, but
yeah, he was fortunate. He got 3 hits with all 3 shots, so I had to make 3 saves for all 5 guys, and I was left with 1 dude unconscious on the ground, the other 4 dead. He then proceeded to.
The impersonator moved up.
The impersonator walked around here, chucked a smoke grenade.
Well, first one went about there.
Yeah, off the board.
Somehow she was like Superman throwing it.
Actually, before all that happened, my Imperial Agent of the Crane was
right.
headshotted by the sniper up here.
I wanted to drop...
Sniper in the tower.
Reduce the AROs coming
right
in on the
through the window.
So he sniped through the window.
Right through the window there. Ping! Took his head off. And then his impersonator...
You got a shot back and hit me, but I was fortunate to make my
return
2
fire
DA saves.
But then your impersonator came around, smoked. His hacker walked out once the smoke was in place, successfully hacked my remote and shut it down. And then he walked up with a monofilament weapon and zoom, cut it in half. So at that point, I literally had 1 unpainted Imperial Agent and my Wu Ming and Xian left. And that's it. So I'm in a state of retreat. I had 3 turns to try and get one of my models off that board edge, but with my lieutenant unconscious, the Imperial Agent who has the...
I don't even know if you're in retreat yet.
Chain of command.
60% points-wise, right? No,
definitely am.
Not.
I'm only...
Points-wise?
Yeah, I only have...
He's like 40, isn't he? 40,
he's
50?
He's... them together is 92, and she is 11.
But
so that's 103 points.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the remote, I think, still counts.
You cut it in half.
Oh, right. You're right.
So the remote's gone, which was 28 points. That's what was keeping me in the game. So I'm basically in a state of retreat now at the bottom of turn 1. So his ambush worked really well.
40%. You only need 40% on board, and you have... What's your percentage?
Well, we're not sure, but basically my lieutenant's unconscious. The chain of command Imperial Agent who could take over is unconscious. which in my mind means I'm down to 3 orders, of which I have to spend 2 to designate someone as a lieutenant, which gives me 1 order to move someone this turn.
Yeah, I was going to check
and then
that.
1 more order to try and get off the board. But simple math, even if I put all of my remaining orders on one guy, I'm not going to get him off the board.
No.
So that basically spelled the end. We learned a couple things
Well,
playing it.
You
So
could, potentially, but it would be hard with not a lot of support.
But the scenario was tough. I had to run right through the middle and just take hits the whole way. There wasn't. I literally had no cover.
The
now that you look at it,
blind firing templates apparently doesn't allow an ARO, so that was nasty.
What do you mean?
If you can't see the shooter,
yeah.
If you don't have line of fire, or
yeah, we found that out.
Shooter, you don't get a proper ARO to the template.
And that's what cost me, is he was able to fire at the lead guy in the building that was right here at the edge of the wall. And none of my other guys could draw line of sight through the smoke I put down. So because he has the visor and can see through the smoke, he hit me with no problem. But I didn't get any AROs because I couldn't see him. So basically, if I hadn't...
I think that's correct. We're not...
Yeah, we're not sure. If I hadn't put the smoke to cover their advance, oddly enough, they would have actually been able to react.
Or if I didn't have a visor.
Yeah. Or if he didn't have a visor or whatever. So my basic thought was... I just didn't... A, I didn't remember he had a visor, and B, my thought was drop it here, and then this guy, my yellow Sen here, he can see through the smoke, so he would be kind of covering their left flank as they run through the building, try and get up the center of the board. Because I knew that his actual center was, there was nothing really there, just an impersonator who, once she pops herself, she'll kill the first thing she gets in contact with, but odds are AROs will take her down after that. So
well, it says if you've lost figures equal to more than 60%.
So is that unconscious?
Unconscious? Does that mean lost?
Because unconscious models do not give you orders.
And what if your lieutenant's unconscious? Does that mean...
I don't know. So that's how this ended. It's very, very... yeah, I'd say it's a short game, because it was only 1 full turn, but we took some time to read up, because we've discovered that like War Machine, this game's very particular in its wording. So template weapons...
Yeah, it says he's a casualty for reserve, yeah.
So, okay, there you go. So, that's what I thought. So, the template weapon discussion. So, basically, this smoke round from a grenade launcher is a template weapon, just like the plasma. They're in that where the round hits the guy, it then mushrooms out. Kind of the same as the shotguns with their flechette rounds. So, this guy here has a shotgun. So, when he fires at a model, if he was to fire across here at someone here, if he was to hit this guy, that's where the actual template then goes out, so it can hit models behind. It's not like a flamethrower in 40k. That's not the shotgun. The shotgun goes off based on there. So his plasma did the same thing. It landed on a guy right here, and then did that. And we found out on the forum that direct template weapons are the ones where everyone can dodge out of the way at a -6 penalty. That's like, direct template is, it's coming right off the guy. So everyone gets to dodge. But that one's not a direct template weapon, so you don't get to dodge unless you have line of sight to the guy shooting it.
You dodge without the -6, so it's actually easier to dodge because you see the round coming in or whatever.
Exactly.
But if you don't see the round coming in because you don't see the guy shooting it, you don't get a reaction to the round coming in.
That makes grenades really interesting as well, because you can blind grenade throw over walls. The parabolic shot, right? So if you're trying to get over this, you have to be this far
Which really
away,
makes sense because you time it right. Like you prime it, wait till it's at optimal for how far it's got to go, and it blows up before you even get a chance to react. Right?
So there's a lot of intricacies in knowing where to use what weapons and how to position your guys. Again, knowing what your opponent has directly plays into how you do it. So if we follow through on the scenario, we did it as an independent scenario mode. So we were able to use whatever forces we want. We just followed the same guidelines when it came to infiltration and deployment. So for our next game, we might as well try the next one, and just see what happens. So we'll run it as if the Colonials failed and they lost the mission, because it does impact the next one. It'll just make it interesting. So it might make my life a little more difficult for our next game, but it should be interesting. I'm going to have to check on their website, because I think they might have put these scenarios on the website. I don't know if they did.
I'm finding the Paradiso stuff.
Yeah.
If you find one out.
But it's interesting. Learned a lot. Like last game, unfortunately, we didn't film. But last game was the first game I ran my remote, and it was the winner. Like it, all I literally did was ARO with him, and because he has total reaction, he was HMGing just over and over and over and over again, and he won me the game.
Well, you started leading. He was your spearhead too, and
yeah, I just
he walked within 8 of my hacker, and my hacker tried to hack him two times in a row, and I failed, and that was basically the difference. Like
because your hacker failed, and just shot,
and then you just backed off. You're like, maybe I'll keep it in the back. Yeah. So the range categories of HMG are very effective.
Well, like I mentioned to Brett already, that normally my game plan was to use my remotes as kind of my cover, like they're the suppressing fire kind of guys. But this scenario, he's my fastest moving guy, and I win outright if I get one model off that board edge. So my thinking was just push. I only have 3 turns to do it, so I'm not sure if that whole 3-turn thing.
It probably would have been better.
It's very difficult, but
on a linear obstacle to give it concealment and just sit there and react to everything you can see. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
To cover their advance.
Yeah, like put it there. Could have just sat there maybe if it could see out. And,
yeah.
I don't know. That's hindsight, obviously. I didn't consider it at the start.
Well, remotes can climb well too. So another option would be, instead of him being there, have him climb up the building. Because they can do that. Remotes can go straight up the side.
You don't want to get arrows at it as you're climbing.
Yeah, because it's really just a dude with one structure point. Like he's not heavily armored.
Right.
What's his armor?
And he's
armor 0.
He's a glass cannon. Like
yeah.
You want him shooting, not climbing, probably.
Yeah.
But
it was interesting. So that's one of our newer games where we've learned something else again. We figured out that remotes and heavy armor seem to be listed the same, so he can hack it and make it stationary / immobile. It can't do anything, can't move or shoot, just make discovery rolls. But he can't take it over like a tag, because everywhere it talks about taking things over, it only says tags, whereas it talks about hacking, it says remotes and heavy armor.
I'll have to read the rules again.
So we'll have to check up on that, but I'll get this video up in the next couple of days, and hopefully anybody watching here can give us some feedback on what we might have done right or might have done wrong. I think every game we're getting closer to nailing stuff properly, and it is turning out to be what it looked like on the cover. It's very brutal.
Fast.
Yeah, very brutal. You don't do it right, you pay for it. So it was good. Thanks for watching.